Alright, what's up YouTube? Today we're going to be doing RC5500 Mast accessory hoses, and we're only doing accessory hoses with a single function and not two functions. So let's do it. Typically when I do these, the first thing I do is I start in the front and I remove the hoses from the front, and then I work my way to the back of the mast, and then when I reinstall the hoses I start in the back and then I work my way forward. So let me go ahead and get these started and off and over this. Now these are Synflex hoses. I get them directly from Crown, and the reason why is they're a pre-cut length, you know, and you need them to stretch kind of like a guitar string so that the tension stays on them. And so that's what you want to do. That's why I order these directly from Crown, so that they're the exact and correct length when I get them in, and then I don't have to worry about there being excess at the end or something being funny. They fit right and they're perfect. Some of the oil. This is pretty much going to make a huge mess. Alright, so now when you're raising this up, you're going to want the mast to be tilted all the way forward as far as it'll go. And when you get to staging, these trucks are going to want to stop because of the height limit switch. So you're going to want to reach up here and push on that limit switch so that you can continue to raise the mast up higher. Alright, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're just going to slowly continue to work our way down. So the next thing in our way is this bracket. So I'm going to remove that. Make sure not to lose any of this stuff. And then I'm just going to loosen this side. I think that's enough. That should be enough anyway. Get that out. Okay. Alright, I'll leave this one in so that the bracket doesn't go anywhere. Okay, so we're going to raise it up some more to get to the next thing. Continue to go up. Alright, so the next thing we have to do is we're going to take off these. These look pretty good. Sometimes these, we're going to see if I can do this without heating them up. Normally what I do is I just heat them up with a torch. I don't go crazy. I just heat them up. But I have actually probably done these hoses in the last year. So got out my ratchet hammer. Hope my snap-on guy doesn't watch this. Alright, so we got this one out. Alright, just drop that tool way down in the bowels of hell. Oh boy. Got that plate off. So now we can go ahead and remove the next section. Now, this is the hose that's actually leaking, one of these two here. Oh, it's that one. Yeah, and there's where it burst open. It basically burst right at that turn. So the next thing we have to do is we're going to lower this mast back down, and because of the retarded design of this mast, I'm going to have to take off the pulley that is up here. Alright, so we just need to get a small pair of snap ring pliers. I don't know why this is. I mean, you literally, it's really hard to get them off and impossible to get them back on. save all your snap rings and your washers. And then what we want to do here is slide this off. Okay. And now that that's off, the rest of the hose will be able to be pulled out of here. And we're going to continue to push it out that way. Alright, so here's the next one. It has a countersunk 5. It has a countersunk Allen. I think it's an 8mm, but it's a 5mm Allen head. Okay. Alright, so then we have to do the second one. Now this this clamp actually has a metal piece and then 2 plastic pieces on the inside. You do not want to lose any of that. You also want to try your best not to drop it, and since I have just warned you about that, I'm probably going to drop it. Now, I take the whole thing out only because I'm just really paranoid about losing stuff. Also, you want to make a note, like the bend starts in these hoses here at the bottom. All right, so that is that. All right, now, right here you'll see there's a zip tie here. And the reason there's a zip tie is because this bracket here broke off a long time ago and I needed a way to secure those. So that's what I chose to do. Is that the right thing to do? I don't know, but these have been on here for quite a while, so it did work. Okay, there's that. And now all we have to do is disconnect our hoses. All right, so do the upper one first. Okay. And then the second one. Man. Now I'm just wiggling this to let the fitting come up. There we go. All right, and that's it. They are out. Okay, so the first thing I like to do is I like to take out the hoses and I will cut them and then unravel them. Now these hoses are going to want to fight you the whole time you try to put them in because they're going to want to twist up. Hopefully I can give you a few pointers on helping with that. I mean, you're not going to eliminate it totally, but look at that. Look how much twist that has in it. So what I like to do is sit here and unravel them as much as I can. Okay, there's one. And then, okay, so now we're going to start from the back of the truck, from where we were, and then we're going to work our way forward. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the first 2 things here. Now, what you want to make sure you do when you put these on here is, you know, get them on. And what I do is I go until they're kind of snug right there, and then I'll back it off a couple, like a turn or 2. And the reason why you want to do that is you want to allow the hose to be able to twist and move around, because it's going to want to do that while you're putting these on, because this is going to want to fight you the whole way. These hoses are pretty stiff when you first put them on. So I also need to get these through the other side. Okay, so of course I'm out of the big zip ties that I just cut off of there. I'd love to tell you that I'm gonna go back and put those on, but if these work, then they work. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this started, this upper bracket. Now these are not gonna wanna cooperate here for this. your... Alright, so now it's that. This is what you do when everything is rusted and all the bolts are broken off. Now, luckily, this section of hose doesn't move. It's just, that's it. It's just gonna stay just like that. So I hope that this will be enough. All right. Now I want these to bend, but I don't want to kink them. I want to try my best not to kink them. And normally what that results in is me kinking them. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this hose and I'm going to shove it up here. Because see, the hose has to go up this way after you get done with that part. So if I can just create some slack like that, I should be able to get it to not kink. These hoses have to go all the way down to roughly about where this weld is, right here. So we're gonna set it like that. And the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the bracket on. All right, so I wanna put one of the plastic things behind, and then one goes in front. One. Okay. What I'm going to do is squeeze on it just enough to get maybe a thread or two on there. I don't really want that part to move, so I'm going to go ahead and tighten that down. Sometimes I don't get the length perfect on this, and so I have to go back later and readjust it here. We're going to know when we lift it. I mean, I try to get it as close as possible. Like I look at the one I just did. You know, the hoses I look at the hoses I take off and try to judge where I need to go to. Okay, so then the next thing is these hoses have to go up and around on this pulley. All right, so now we have our loop, and remember, you want to try your best to continuously not get these twisted up, because they're just going to want to twist up the whole time. Get it started, and then you have to pull these in and slide it on, and then there, and get it behind there, and then against the chain. Now when we start to stretch these out, it will slack it'll tighten all this stuff up that has slack from the bracket we just did before this pulley. So everything after that bracket, so from this pulley and all around, it'll pull on it as soon as we tighten it up. You'll see what I'm talking about. So go ahead, and we need to put this on. And the other thing too is this is not going to want to go in all the way, so you've got to make sure that it goes on all the way. Okay. I apologize if I'm getting bad in camera angles. Okay. There we go. Okay, so now that's on. All right, now on to the next hardest part. Remember, gentlemen, every part is the hardest part. Okay, so now we're we're gonna watch our top hoses, and we wanna make sure that we do not, again, get them twisted. So this is how I set these up. This is how I try to make what's impossible seem only really effing hard. We're gonna have to get these hoses to turn and go straight up into this bracket. So the first thing I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna get this side started. I'm gonna get that one started. I'm gonna tighten this enough to where it's pretty tight and it's gonna hold it pretty securely, but at the same time, I can still turn it. All right? So now, I'm also gonna set my other Allen up. We're gonna take these and we're gonna put them up out of the mast, like so. And see, that's gonna allow us to kind of control the curve of this a little bit. All right, and it's just hanging over the top of the mast right now. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and tighten that up. Okay. Now, I'm gonna lower the mast down a little bit and we're gonna put on the next bracket. Okay, so the hoses are still hanging up over the top of the top of the mast here, of the outer rail. And what we're gonna do now, again, see, we're twisting up here. I'm gonna pull these down. I'm gonna try to straighten them out just a bit. I'm gonna stick them back up here. Okay, so then we go here, I'm gonna pull this up, and look at that. I'm gonna tighten this up. All right, so now we're gonna continue to lower the mast down and we're gonna get our hoses over the top. Now before I do this part though, I'm actually gonna pull the hoses back through the mast because I do not want to pinch them on anything that's lowering. Okay, so we're just gonna hang them like that. All right, so what we're also gonna wanna do now at this point is we're gonna wanna misstage the carriage, so the free lift cylinder. To do that, we're going to we're gonna put this 2x4 in here. And I'm gonna put a little clamp just to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. There's not a lot of weight on these, so I'm not like so worried about this. And as soon as I do that, the carriage is gonna continue to lower. I'm sorry, not the carriage. The free lift cylinder is gonna continue to lower. I'm gonna let that go all the way down. How slack the free lift cylinder is, like the chains are really loose. So the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna kind of pull this through and away. All right, so now we're gonna come through the front, making sure that they're not twisted, okay? And we're gonna come straight down and make the connection. Now that we have these connections on, we're gonna go ahead and tighten these fittings and then the ones in the back, the first ones that we hooked up. Let me do that. We're almost done. You can watch as this thing goes up. So I'm gonna go up just a little bit, making sure that they stay where they're supposed to. And then every single thing in this mast is gonna tighten up. Oh, hold on, I got a small problem in the back. One of the hoses wants to come off that pulley, so now I'm gonna just straighten that back out. And so this is just a good time to start checking everything that you're doing. Okay. Somehow the operators, you know, of course nobody knows how it happened. That's how it always goes. Somebody broke this bracket completely off. They broke all the bolts and everything off. So I had to order a new one of these. So we're gonna go ahead and just put this back on. Crown uses Allen fasteners, and I'm putting on hex. Because screw those, man. In the freezer, they're terrible. 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 Alright guys, so the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to test the functions. We're going to make sure it side shifts left and right. Then I'll change the angle, and we're going to actually watch this part in the back that I always have problems with. We're going to watch and make sure that it does what it's supposed to do. And I'll show you what I do before I send them out. So let's make sure that this works. There we go. Yeah. Perfect. All right, let's check out the lift. As this comes up, these hoses are going to go into this channel. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I just spray this lube in here like this to help it out. I'm going to tilt back, and now we're going to start going up. We're going to make sure that nothing binds or gets twisted or caught up funny. I'll spray these things, and the reason why I spray these is because they will not want to slip into this channel. You see it fighting right there, and they've got to conform to the channel. So there we go. And this is how I get them to kind of initially find their place, because they don't want to do this. So you got to run this mast up and down a few times. Nothing's caught, everything looks good. There's no kinks in the hoses. All right. All right. Here we go again. We're gonna watch as the channel comes up, and this is the channel part here, and we're watching for these hoses to fall into the channel on their own and not slip out. And they're gonna fight. See, right there. That's okay, all we gotta do is run them up and down. And when you lube them like that, when you spray that chain lube on there, it helps the hoses to want to form better into that channel. So I'm going to just keep working that until they sit in the channel all the way to the top. That's pretty good. That's pretty close right there. It's pretty close. So we're just going to keep on going. Let me lube them up again. And I'm just going to work them. Sometimes it takes 2 times, sometimes it takes 10. But you just keep working it. Because the thing is, if you don't make sure that these sit in that channel all the way, I can promise you they're going to come out while the operators are using the truck, and they're not going to pay attention to the fact that they've come out, and they're going to get caught in all of this assembly as it's coming down, and it'll tear the hoses and mess up all your hard work. So this part is definitely worth 15 or 20 minutes to... Oh, do you see that? This part's definitely worth 15 or 20 minutes to make sure you get it right. I guess I need some mast bushings. This thing's moving around a lot. This truck has 14,000 hours on it. Yep, they're sitting in there much better now. Yep. Much better. Let's spray some more. So now they're really starting to form into that channel. And that's definitely what you want. This is good enough for now. As the operators use this stuff, it will actually do better the more you do this. So, but it's good enough now. I'm not worried about the hoses coming out of the channel or anything like that. Okay guys, thanks again for watching, and I really appreciate it. Comment below if there's something that I missed or that you think I could do better to make this job easier for me. And yeah, that's it. I hope to see you guys next time.